All right, thank you. We have a posted meeting here. This is the first Town Moderator Study Committee. The purpose of this committee is to take a look at how we could possibly increase participation in town meetings. And the two areas of major focus is, one is called the electronic voting, which are little gadgets like this. And the other one is, we're going to explore the possibility of, whether it's a good thing to do or not a good thing to do on possibly Saturday meetings. So we have here an interesting situation because late on Friday, Town Council had advised us that everybody in this committee, of course, has been selected by the Select Board. However, we also had two Select Board members, and Town Council advised that we really can't proceed formally with Select Board members unless the Select Board decide to change the charge that we have received, and that is to include them. So I offered two options. They're going to vote later tonight, and we'll accept whatever the option is. But option number one is leave the charge the way it is, and just us here will be the study group, or change the charge to accommodate two Select Board members. If anybody twisted my arm, I would say I would love to have the two Select Board members. We valued their input when we decided to work together, and certainly that wouldn't change because of a procedural issue. So because we can't formally vote on anything or organize, like elect a chair and a secretary, we're going to have a very brief discussion. We're going to talk a little bit about what I think we'd like to do, each of us, for homework assignments, just get your opinion. But before I move on, I do want to go down the line. And I'll introduce myself, Joe DeMoria, Town Moderator, and to my immediate right, all the way down, is Alyssa Lee, the Council on Aging, our fabulous Town Clerk, Jen Peterson, Patrick Molina, who is on, what boards, committees?
On the planning board and
Planning board.
recreation committee.
Wonderful. And we're very excited to have a young man here with a young family, Emilio Dunn. And he will discover that once he begins volunteering, he can never get out. But Emilio hopefully will be able to really love volunteering and serving our town. I'm sure he will, So anyways, here are my thoughts. We did share by emails, and I just, wanted to get an opinion from each one of you. Jen Peterson, actually, tell us a little bit. You went to a meeting of new town clerks and picked up a whole bunch of information about electronic voting.
Well, the Massachusetts Town Clerks Association met in June, and there was a There was a vendor there, and I did get material from him, and since then, I've also done some research on other companies that deal with the same type of equipment so that we can compare the different options.
Okay, and there is an expense.
There is
You
definitely
don't get these for free.
expense. No, you can buy, you can rent, there's all sorts of different programs which we'd have to research.
Okay, very
A
good.
lot of them would like to do, either web meetings or, demonstrations, so maybe we can schedule things like that as we move forward.
Sure. I sense that, I believe when we start working formally that we're not going to be in any rush to do anything. I just want to clarify, what is electronic voting? It is a device so that people can actually vote yes or no on matters. They can also abstain. They can also signal to the town moderator that they would like to make an amendment. So it is a way of voting privately. The theory is that some folks might feel uncomfortable, and some folks might not come to meetings, especially for controversial topics that need to be voted on, if they raise their hand and make it visible to, let's say, neighbors, for example, that would oppose those views. So there is some research that's been done, some evidence. Towns that have embraced electronic voting very much believe that it has improved the efficiency, and because of the privacy, it has also boosted participation. We're not rushing into anything. At the end of the day, the goal of this committee is to develop a written plan with recommendations to be delivered to the Select Board in the spring of 2026. And besides our recommendation, we don't have the authority to make the decision, but we certainly will guide them to making final decisions, such as, should we do electronic voting, yes or no? And then, of course, we'll have to figure out how to implement that. So thank you for that. Alyssa, what are your thoughts in terms of what you'd like to contribute in terms of, let's say, your homework assignment? We're all going to assign ourselves homework assignments.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, a couple things. I just wanted to clarify really what our goal is, because I do, anyone that knows me is absolutely certain to say that, yes, I want to do it all, but I think it does need to be in steps. So I think just to clarify, our first goal to figure out what people want before deciding what, the next steps of what then to implement, should there be any changes that
And
people
what's-
want, or are you doing both simultaneously?
And what's the best way? Are you referring to a survey
Yeah.
as one mechanism?
As a survey, meaning where people are. So that could be, as I mentioned, the COAs will be doing a large survey, starting in September. So, social media, email, knocking on doors, phone calls, and so forth. But then, getting the information from the community, which would then guide us on how to move forward and the recommendations made to the select board,
Okay.
right?
That makes sense. That makes sense. That is important. We have ideas. These are not ideas that were generated by me or any single person. They've been ideas that have been floating around for years, and I think that it's incumbent upon us to study these ideas, but also we must get the pulse of the public.
Yeah.
We must. The biggest concern I have is if we implement something that was wrong, and in fact, that people won't come to a meeting because it is on a Saturday, or not enough, or people won't come to a meeting because we decided to go electronic, which, for too many people, that's an intimidation of some
Yeah.
type, so.
So I was really curious, just about the questions. So I don't know if you want to look at it or not. Again, this is just purely my
Yeah, well, this
draft
is an
of
information
looking at
session.
it.
We're not voting on anything, but we'll
yeah.
definitely take a
So
look
these were
at the
just some
work.
questions I thought of, just to make it a little bit more simple, a little less, try to reduce redundancy and a little more simple language in regards to what we're asking for, and also trying to not lead anyone in a particular year. So again, just my perspective, my thoughts, because I think this would then tell us what we should then start researching on. If everybody answers, I want to raise my hands, then there's no point.
Well, this is a really good point, because the next time we meet, which will probably be an organizing meeting and then a formal meeting, we should probably have those survey results.
Yeah.
But you can go ahead and do this because you had planned on doing
Yeah.
a survey anyways.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's not like we're not formed as a formal committee yet. We have to get the charge figured out.
Uh-huh.
And we're going off and doing work. You were already in progress with this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'll read some of these questions. This is I like it. It's easy. I had mine was too complicated. I had
It
too
was
many-
complicated.
Too many
Very
words.
good
Yeah, too
then.
many adverbs and and adjectives. So this is pretty cool. Section 1, voting method, brief intro. The town is exploring whether to adopt electronic voting devices, clickers, for town meeting. Your input is helpful. 4 questions. Number 1, have you attended a town meeting in the last 3 years? Yes or no? Number 2, would you feel comfortable using a handheld electronic voting device? Yes, no, not sure. Number 3, do you have a preference for how votes are taken? Electronic voting, voice vote, raise your hands, no preference. And then last one, number 4, if electronic voting were introduced, what would that make you more likely to attend town meeting? Yes, no, not sure. I love it. Thank you. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're right, we need to have we need to have a sense of this before we go off and start researching stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just again, my thought, and then maybe making it well-known when we do ask these questions, that certainly there's more to it, you know, that it's not going to be, if you say yes, then we're going to, there's still, you know, because I'm looking at this little thing, and for some people, it would be really easy. I'm thinking for a lot of people I work with personally, that's going to be a really hard device to use.
Can I ask a question?
Sure,
Is
please.
it possible to add a picture so that people could see an
Yeah,
example
that's a
of
good idea.
with size, you know, banana for scale or something, to show the size of it, right? Because it is quite small, so that's
Right.
a really fair point. Just to
It's
show
the same
what
as the
people
phone one.
would be using for question number 2. And then for question number 4, one thing I might suggest as an edit, if we can get into those kinds of things in informational meeting or no? A potential edit
Say it
there?
again?
A potential edit that I would make to question number 4.
What's the edit?
So here it asks, if electronic voting were introduced, would that make you more likely to attend town meeting? Yes, no, not sure. If someone were to answer no, that could be that it would make them less likely or the same likelihood that they had before. So perhaps we, you know, something to think about, you know, could we change it to something that is, if electronic voting were introduced, would that make you more or less likely, or the same likelihood to attend the town meeting? That way you get a true understanding of more or less. Not
Good.
just-
That's awesome. It's a good point. Well, since you're on deck, what would your interest be, your vision in terms of, this is what I can do based on my background or whatever? What's your passion point conceptually?
I do love crunching data, so I'm also happy to help with the survey and any data that comes from it. And however we might envision whether this goes out electronically, by paper, or, you know, however we might want to do that, I'm happy to help out in any way that I can.
Good. I'm very weak and intimidated by technology. Would you be part of a team where you're looking really deep at what the vendors are telling us?
Absolutely.
You know, specifications, how these gadgets work?
For sure.
What could go wrong? How are they tested? That's an area outside my wheelhouse. And that's a concern. The surveys, the leadership, our work, all points to, yeah, let's go ahead and get these things in 2026 or 2027, and then they don't work.
Right. And is there any compliance requirements for having electronic?
Yeah, or some
voting,
crash.
Et cetera. Yep.
So, I mean, I work for a financial firm, and, you know, we have our technological issues, and when you roll something out, I always take pause. I think we all do, for obvious reasons. Thank you. Patrick, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't have a specific passion about you know, an area of doing this. I'm happy to put my head in and help however I can be helpful. My background, I'm an attorney, and so I see rules and regulations and statutes and things. So I mean, if there's something that needs to be done along those lines, if we have to, you know, figure out, you know, what we're allowed to do, you know, as far as specifics and things like that, what kind of options we have, things like that. I see in your initial mock-up, you have Ed slated for applicable rules and process for implementation. I think that's probably somewhere I could be helpful.
Good.
You know, so anything that comes up along those lines is something where I think my
Yeah, and I
expertise sort of fits.
appreciate, because, and I'll speak for myself, I don't know, so if we decide to use clickers, it's a go. We're going to pay for them. People are looking forward to it. We got the tech figured out. How do we implement that? Do we have a bylaw? Do we use state statute? You know, what's the protocol for actually implementing it? Thank you. You would be really helpful, you know, in that regard. That would be tremendous.
Yeah, happy to help any way I can.
Appreciate it. And let me do the other part of the survey questions, because very simple, I love them. Section 2, Saturday town meeting, brief intro. Some towns hold town meeting on Saturdays to accommodate more schedules, personal schedules. We'd like your opinion. Number 5, would you prefer town meeting to be held on a weeknight, on a Saturday, or no preference? Number 6, would a Saturday town meeting make you more likely to attend? Yes, no, not sure.
And that's a place where Emilio's point is good again, same
Yeah,
way.
yeah, we're going to put Amelia's input in there. That's awesome. Good job. And then the next one is, if Saturday meetings were adopted, check the box, what, from 11 to 2 is good for you, or 12 to 3, or 1 to 4, or 2 to 5? Let's see if we can get a majority there. And then an optional question, the last one is, do you have any comments about town meeting format or accessibility you'd like to share? So that's really wonderful. So that's great. That's great. That's good stuff. So when are you implementing your survey?
So our survey is going out to older adults, so we have just about 2,000, a little over 2,000 older adult residents here in Groveland. We are hoping to get a group of 20 people together to submit, to help collect the survey information from just those 2,000. So if Groveland, I don't know how many people, I don't know how many voters we have, presumably it's more than 2,000.
Yeah.
You know, like, what is our goal for getting,
I mean, I think we could take, I mean, really the best, easiest, well, we need it to hit Groveland residents. I
Yeah.
was thinking, you know, you could do social media, but you're not guaranteed that that's going to be all Groveland
Yeah.
that would respond, because it's not all Groveland residents on some of those. I don't know how we could weed that. I mean, we could obviously take the information and cross-check it against residents lists or something like that. But getting it out that way would be one way. We could survey, you know, the rest of the community that wouldn't be in the Council on Aging's
yeah.
set.
So you're suggesting maybe 2
One
surveys?
online survey. Will it be the exact same survey,
Same one, yeah.
or this portion anyway? Are you surveying other?
We're doing much more. Yeah, our survey is very substantial.
Yeah, so we could just take.
So you have a
this-
Council on Aging survey that
Yep.
you're going to incorporate these questions?
Yeah, might as well. right?
Okay, yeah.
Unless you would rather not. I was just thinking
No,
it might be.
and then I think
easy
Jen is
catch-all.
suggesting a great idea, and then we need to do
I mean, we
this
could put it on-
survey.
Yeah, I mean, there's. you know,
Electronically?
Survey Monkey or
Yeah.
any of those.
Yeah. Okay,
Either email the community, I'm not sure if we have.
I just think we need to really push it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people aren't gonna do it.
I mean, we could put reminders and stuff, but you know,
yeah.
obviously.
Have it available on the town website.
Yeah, we can, you know, you can put it right out on the message board out in front. Have you had a chance to answer your survey yet?
If it was up and running by Groveland Day, I don't know.
If we did,
That's
if we had it by
quick.
Groveland Day, and Groveland Day, yeah,
Well, we have to
And
vote on
Pumpkin
it.
Fest and-
See, Alyssa's survey is on its own track,
Yeah.
planned, even if this
Yeah.
committee didn't exist.
right.
If we're going to do our study committee, we're going to have to meet again very shortly to organize based on the new charge that we're going to get tonight, within a matter of a couple of hours, come back here, reorganize, and then have the legal ability to vote on stuff. And at that point, our first vote probably going to say, let's go with a survey.
Right,
Because without that survey, we don't know what to study and what not to study.
right.
Got it. So shall we try to look at some dates?
Sure.
That
Yeah.
premature?
I'll bring my phone.
I hope it's not.
I kind of have August in my head.
And one other thing noticing on the survey, would it be beneficial to add actually an 8th question if, in case there are, basically repeating number 7, but for weeknights, for the folks that do want weeknights, that we, if we end up getting swayed in one direction or the other, we have a time slot that is preferential for.
Yeah, well, that's what, I was wondering, reading it here at this table, it's definitely leaning, I feel like my bias coming through of a Saturday. So,
Well, it
so,
speaks to your audience too, to some degree, I think.
so I don't know, is that too much detail to know right now? Maybe that's a question that we eliminate until people even say that they're interested in a Saturday.
I think to avoid a a second survey with, and you don't know the participation of round 2 of survey,
Yeah.
right? That way you have all the data right out
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
And then I'll be able to more efficiently crunch
Yeah.
the data.
When's Groveland Day? Shame on me, I should know this.
The 6th.
6.
Of
September 6th.
Can-
So one question I had about the Saturday, I don't know if I need to be speaking in this thing. Are we in any kind of are we locked in to Monday nights because of the Pentucket school system and the fact that we're tied to the 2 other towns?
It's my understanding, yes, but I don't know that officially.
Because are we going down a road that just makes no sense to even go down because we can't change it because we're in the school system and all 3 towns need to vote and everyone's decided that the Monday night, the first Monday and last Monday in April is when everybody's meeting?
I'll answer the question this way. I don't know for sure, but if the study group comes up with the concept that it seems reasonable to implement electronic voting, and we decide to move forward with that, that doesn't mean that that is also the same year that we will also do a Saturday meeting. We could end up coming up with evidence that Saturday meetings do work in certain locations, and then with Patrick, for example, going through the legal process, see if we can do it or not.
Sure.
It might end up
Okay.
being a moot point. But it'd be really, really interesting if we have overwhelming support of the concept. It's not about a matter, so if we have overwhelming support of that Saturday concept, then we're gonna have to get busy to explain to the select board how to implement it, and hopefully we can.
Yeah, I would just hate to say that we can't do it because others aren't doing it yet,
Right.
right? So I think somebody always has to be the first to have that conversation. And so if evidence were to point towards yes, there is a strong interest in Saturday, I think it just makes it easier for other towns to do something similar and,
Yeah.
you know, look at their own
That's a
audience.
great idea. We might say we love it, and we'll wait for you guys to put it in place, even if it takes a couple of years. That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Interest is interest in data, so we
Yeah.
can go to the other towns and say, hey, listen, this is what we came up with.
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
Wow, it's pretty cool. All right, so in the interest of time, shall we try to put on a meeting as soon as next week? And the purpose of it is just to organize and vote. And I think the only thing we need to vote on for sure is we want to do a survey before Groveland Day. And then nail down the assignments, which I think we know the assignments are. So I don't know, I'm thinking, I'm wondering if the 13th is a Wednesday of August? Might that work?
Yep.
Emilio?
Same time?
Let's say
5 o'clock?
5?
I can do that.
Yep.
Emilio?
I can block that
Okay.
off.
Yep, I can.
And obviously, depending on what the select board does tonight,
Yeah, it's either going to be us 5 or 2 more friends
Okay.
joining us from the select board. Just waiting for Amelia, and then we'll,
Yes, I can.
okay, so we'll do 5. I'll project 5:45. We'll try to keep those fairly short.
Would it be, I don't want to
Go ahead.
make anyone else do it, but would it be possible to start at 5:15, just because I typically have booked solid until
Yeah,
5?
yeah. Yep, yeah, how about we do 5:30?
I mean, I don't want to make it too late.
Yeah, that's all right. 5:30 to, let's say, maximum till 6:30, that's fine.
So
5:30?
5:30 on the 13th.
5:30 on the 13th, which is a Wednesday. I'll ask Chris if he might be here available. That'll be fine. This is an information session. Steve, you're on the select board. If you had any thoughts, can't vote on anything, but please, offer your opinion. Thanks for showing up. I was hoping we'd have enough chairs for people coming
I appreciate you putting the chairs out.
Our crowd.
we do have enough chairs.
You had plenty of chairs.
to the crowd.
No, the only thing I would say is I think I'm excited to see what the committee comes up with. I think these are really important things for us to be looking at, especially in terms of the electronic voting. And then, I'm curious to the point about the town meeting night. I'll be interested to see how that goes in terms of seeing what the the coordination with the other towns looks like, because that is a concern that I think I've heard before, so. Other than that, looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with.
Thank you.
Appreciate everyone taking the time to be part of the committee, too.
Okay, I did want to bring one other thing. I sat in on a Zoom call about a month ago with some really dedicated people from the town of Wayland who are implementing remote town meeting. And there is actually a law that might be passed in Massachusetts. So I can't speak for this committee, I'll speak for myself. But I did suggest to Jason, because that information is being generated in town, which is an exciting concept, the concept of you can participate in town meeting from your home is kind of a cool concept. But when I sat in on that Zoom meeting, the technology is very complex. Most of the software hasn't even been written yet because the companies will not make that investment until there is a law to allow it. And the reality is, I'm going to promote it. I might even do some editorial content on it in my column. But my feeling says, yes, maybe in the future. There isn't any town or city that is either contemplating or already scheduled to go with remote voting without first electronic voting being mastered. So you kind of have to walk before you can run. So remote town meeting is really a fascinating concept. If I close my eyes and look into the distant future, I don't see the possibility how it will not come to this town. I think the future of town meeting, and what's interesting about this remote town meeting, it's hybrid. So people will have a choice to either sit from home to participate and vote or come into a hall. And that, of course, has the promise of dramatically increasing participation. But it's complicated, and I'm glad I sat in that meeting because by being a technophobe provides an input that probably represents a decent chunk of the population here in Groveland, where they might feel a little bit intimidated with the technology. So again, I'm excited about it. I'm going to promote it, but we're not going to include it in this charge. I'm hoping the select board would not include it in this charge. I haven't asked for that. In fact, I've expressed the preference for not changing the charge beyond electronic voting and Saturday meetings, and to not bring in remote town meeting, because that'll confuse people, in my humble opinion. My future is, I can't imagine remote town meeting not eventually coming here. So, just a thought on that. Anybody, any comments on that? Any questions, any feelings about that?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
One, I don't think it would, I love the idea of it, but from your words, you want to make town meeting fun. And I think that is a real possibility to make it a real community event. Not that we're charged with, whatever day it happens, it can be something fun for the whole family if there were others to be put into it, to make it so that people want to come. So it's a gathering of community before town meeting for people of all ages to just come together, have fun, maybe talk through what's on, and then go inside and vote. I think that is sort of the magic of town meeting, is being a collective and together and hearing voices heard, so they want to share them. But I love the idea, and especially for, our community members who are, homebound, to have that option is awesome. But I think where you're gonna get the masses are having something fun to do, before the meeting, or maybe after, if it's not too late.
I appreciate that. That's,
I would tack on that and say that I think a barrier that exists right now to having greater attendance is childcare option.
Yeah.
I can say personally that only one of us can come because somebody's got to stay home. And so thinking creatively about how maybe you can tie something to the town meeting where, you know, somebody is watching a bunch of kids, and the kids are having a good time doing something, you know,
Yeah.
to your point. You know, that is, I think, you know, if the idea is get more people, there are a lot of folks at home with kids.
Yep.
So, especially on a Monday night.
Right.
I tend to agree with that. I do think remote sounds nice at the start. You would need to understand with either electronic voting or in-person voting by voice or hands, you know, you can only cast one vote. I would be a bit worried about with remote voting, introducing the potential for multiple votes from single entities too. And being a pilot for those very new software is probably not great. So to your point, maybe let someone else or another town go through that first to be the pilot. And I do echo actually what you're mentioning there too, is there another way to introduce childcare? And should that be something that maybe we bring into the fold here, even in the survey? If childcare were available, would that alter anything as well, right? And we would have to get creative of how we would implement childcare during that time. But that could be something that could also,
So on the townwide survey, maybe we'll put in some question about the childcare. That's a good idea. You know, thank you. I now have I have a clear homework assignment. Because the survey's done, and my survey suggestions pale in comparison to the elegance and simplicity that Alyssa came up with. So thank you for that. And thank you, Amelia, for those refinements. So what do? I need a job. So my homework assignment is gonna be, I'm gonna look, so even if we make absolutely no changes either for next year or ever, we need to think about a truly successful shuttle service for people that want to ride to and from the meeting. Age neutral, doesn't have to be anybody over 65, just anybody. You need a ride, you're disabled, you just need a ride, or you have your husband still working and you don't have a car. So shuttle service and childcare. We have a big gymnasium. We could have a real, I go to the gym almost every day, and there's a room full of kids with mom and dad, you know, working out, and the kids are having a blast. Why? We have to have that. That's crazy not to do that. So I'm going to look into that and really, really advocate for those two things to happen next year. That will be the only thing I would set my mind really has to happen next year. 2026, we don't have to have electronic voting. 2026, we don't have Saturday meetings. But I think these 2 points, and if it doesn't increase
So does that mean,
participation, I think it makes it more, we want to increase participation, but we also want to make the meeting more, I think fun is a good word, more pleasing, something, I look forward to that meeting.
Ice cream.
Pizza and ice
more
cream.
accessible and more enjoyable.
More enjoyable, yeah,
Ice
Do
cream
we need-
social town meeting.
yeah.
do we need to amend the charge? Because you want to add these things, you know, specifically as
I can ask, but
focus points?
yeah, I don't think that's just something we're going to vote on, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't
But
think.
if the goal is to present a set of recommendations.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, reasonable recommendations about childcare and shuttle service is something that I suspect all of us will agree on. You know, if there's a barrier to talking about it because it's not in the charge, we should clear that out now.
Okay, well,
Oh.
we have the advantage, could you bring that message to the meeting tonight?
Make a comment first?
Yeah.
Here, you'll have to speak in the microphone.
Before you amend the charge, would it be worth looking at what you get back for feedback on the date and time of town meeting currently and see if the thing that is holding people back from being able to attend is the accessibility options like childcare and things like that? Because you may be able to handle that under the same charge. If the data shows you the only reason people aren't showing up on Monday nights is because they don't have childcare and they don't have a way to get there, well, maybe that's a part of that, right? Maybe that's part of that discussion.
And amending the charge isn't hard.
Right.
Okay,
No, that's an email.
okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we could add a question
that on the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
do that. If,
Transportation might be more so with, the 2,000 or so older adults.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely put that. I mean, honestly, one of the barriers, not only transportation for older adults, just in casual conversation, is the nighttime and coming home after dark, is a challenge, River, the apartments behind us here over here at River Pines, you don't want to go home, when it's dark and it's not well lit and there's vision issues and you're going upstairs and you're coming home at 10 o'clock at night, like, it's hard. But, same thing with kids and families, we don't want to put our kids to sleep at 10 o'clock either.
Right.
Or grandkids. for-
Exactly, you know what I mean? Like, late nights are just hard for everyone.
Right.
well, that's wonderful. In the interest of time, any closing comments? Well, I appreciate everyone coming, and thank you for serving on this board. I know that I individually said thank you to each of you, but this is a big deal. Town meeting form of government's been around for 400 years, and by some estimates, it's a dying form of governance, and we don't want to just do the minimum. We want to do the maximum to really transform it into something exciting, a real community event that people will actually look forward to coming to. So that's a wonderful vision. So thank you all. So, all right, I guess we'll adjourn this informational session, and we'll come back on the 13th of August and formalize our proceedings. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.